this is going to be basically my health video, like I was told you, like what happened to me after I had the baby. So what happened to me after I had the baby was I had a blood clot in my lungs. It happened about 2 weeks after she was born. The reason why we went back to the hospital was because I was having some sharp pains in my left side, and it wasn't like the kidney stone pains. It was like up further into my chest cavity, and it wasn't going away. It was I couldn't hardly breathe. I couldn't breathe in really deep. I couldn't yawn, I couldn't sneeze, I couldn't cough because the pain was so bad. So that's why we went to the hospital. And they did a CAT scan. And while they were, when I went into the hospital, I'm trying to remember because it's been a little bit. They hooked me up to an IV. And I guess they had a problem with it. And then when I went back to get the CAT scan, the woman that did the CAT scan kept having to tug on it because it wasn't letting the contrast through. So what she did was, I mean, she was pulling on it, and it hurt really bad when she was doing it. So what she did was she just wrapped the tube around my thumb, because when you have a CAT scan, you have to put your arms above your head. And so she twirled it around my thumb so it would put tension on the IV so the contrast could go through. So that's what they did. I think they did urine sample too. I can't remember. I don't remember if they did a urine or not. But the doctor came back in, and he said that there was a blood clot in my left lung. He didn't tell me how big it was or anything, but they did have to keep me. They kept me for 2 days only because of something about the insurance. And they gave me Lovenox shots while I was in the hospital. And of course they admitted me. I have my notebook here that tells me everything. While I was in the hospital, of course the baby couldn't stay with me, so I had to pump. And then the lactation consultant came up to talk to me about the medicine that I was on and if it was okay for baby. So she said it was, so I pumped, and every time I got done I would call her to let her know that I was done pumping. That way she can go take it to the postpartum floor, because I was on a different floor. She would take it to the postpartum floor and put it in their refrigerator. That way I can take it home, or Christian could pick it up and take it to the baby. And he stayed with me. And so the treatment that they gave me while I was in the hospital, they gave me Lovenox shots. It was once in the morning time and once in the nighttime. It had to be the same time every day, and it was twice a day. And the treatments the tests that they did while I was in the hospital, they did an echocardiogram, I think that's what it's called, to check my heart to see if I had any blood clots around my heart. And they did an ultrasound of my legs to see if I had any blood clots in my legs. They did find a small blood clot in the bottom part of my right leg, but it wasn't anything that they were too much worried about. When I was admitted, I was talking to my sister, and I was talking to my mom, of course, but my sister, she was getting kind of scared because my mom had told her that my two older sisters' dad died of that, which was freaking me out, but I wasn't showing that it was freaking me out because I needed to be calm. I didn't need to stress about it. It was a pulmonary embolism. And my sister, the one that does the photography, she was freaking out, and and she went and got the nurse, and the nurse couldn't tell her anything, of course, without me being present. So she brings the nurse in the room, and she said, "Hey, Jamie's not taking this seriously. What exactly is going on?" And the nurse looked at her, and she's like, "Well, I don't understand how she's not taking it seriously, because, I mean, she's in the hospital. She's doing what we tell her. She's not refusing any medication or anything." And I don't blame my sister for being upset and scared, because, I mean, having a blood clot in your lung is a serious problem. I mean, it could have killed me if we didn't get it in time. And I thank God every day since this for Christian, because I wasn't going to go to the hospital, because after I had AnnaShae, I had the same feeling, but I went to a different hospital, because we have 2 hospitals where I live. One I don't really like, and the other one, I mean, that's where I had my babies. That's where I started to go after I had this one. But after I had AnnaShae, I went to the other one, and all they did was an x-ray, and they told me it was pleurisy. And it could have been a blood clot, but, I mean, I didn't die, so it might have been just pleurisy. And that's what I told the doctor this time. I said, I went to the other hospital after I had my first one, and they just told me it was pleurisy. And he said, well, it might be pleurisy, but we're going to take a little bit more further action, because it could also be a blood clot. So, anyways, jumping back to my sister, I don't feel, I don't blame her for being upset, because it is scary. And like I said, I didn't want to go to the hospital, but Christian made me go to the hospital, and I'm glad he did, because I could very well not be here right now. But all the tests that they did, the echocardiogram and the ultrasounds of my legs, they came back fine, besides the little small blood clot, and that they weren't too much worried about it. So we were hoping to go home that next day, but because it was so late and the hospital pharmacy closed at 5 o'clock before the doctor came in to talk to me, I had to stay again. And so, I mean, I stayed again. They didn't do any tests or anything, and I was pumping. Of course, I was stressed out for being in the hospital, not being with my baby, so I wasn't getting enough breast milk. So when the doctor came in the next day, well, let me see here. Either the second day we were there, because I think we were admitted on a Sunday. I think that Monday I started bleeding again after they gave me the shots. I think so. Yeah. So I started bleeding again after they started giving me the shots from the C-section. So they called in my my doctor that delivered the baby, and he said that it was perfectly normal. I wasn't done bleeding from the C-section, even though I had stopped bleeding a week after I had her. And we would talk about a birth control plan to stop my periods from happening, so I didn't bleed out, because I was going to be on this blood thinner for at least 6 months. That's what my regular family doctor told me after I got out of the hospital and I went to see her. So, me and Christian talked about it, and we decided that either one of the implants would be best, because they stop your periods and they last for a while. So, anyways, I was bleeding. So, after my doctor came in and talked to me about birth controls and stuff that would be best, I talked to the regular doctor, and he said that the medicine that I could go home on, I would have to take the Levodopa shots until my levels got to where they wanted them, but I would also be on warfarin, because that's one of the medicines that I could take while also breastfeeding. And I would have to take both of them, because there's this thing called bridging, and I didn't understand what it meant. but I would have to get my INR levels checked every week so they can get my levels where they want them and to keep them where they wanted them. So that's what I'm having to deal with. The next day I went home with 2 or 3 cases of Levodoc shots that Christian had to give me every day, twice a day. Once before he went to work and then once when he got home from work. Until my levels got between 2 and 3. I think that's what I remember correctly. And it didn't get up to 2 until about 2 weeks after I got out of the hospital. So, my levels are not great right now. When I went last week, it was 1.7. And when I went before my sister's wedding, it was 1.8. So I had to take, instead of taking the 5 milligram of warfarin, I had to take 7.5. So I had to take 2 of the pills, 1 of the 2.5, and then 1 of the 5. And to see if that would give me my levels back to where they wanted them, and they didn't. And then when I went last week, it went down, so it was 1.7. So I had to take 7.5 milligrams on that Wednesday, Saturday, Monday, and then today I have to take 7.5. And then I'll have a check tomorrow. But I haven't had, it's like almost 2 months past the blood clot, and I haven't had any pains or any scares. On the way to Alabama and the way back, we had to stop because my levels were low, so my blood wasn't thin, and we had to stop every 2 hours so I can get out and walk around to get my blood flowing so I wouldn't get any more blood clots. So, other than that, the past 2 weeks, like I said, the week before I went to Alabama, which was the week before August 12th, or a couple days before August 12th, it was 7.8, and then when I went last Wednesday, it was 1.8, and then when I went back last Wednesday, it was 1.7, so it went down. So hopefully my levels will be right when I go tomorrow. If I remember, I might vlog it. I don't know. So hopefully I'll have weekly INR updates for you guys, just because I know there are some people who are struggling with blood clots and are on blood thinners, and just to let you know, you're not the only one. I know the woman that does my check, she says I'm the youngest person she's ever had in her office to do blood checks, and I mean, it's not my fault that I had a blood clot. I mean, I got it after the C-section. It was caused from the C-section. And it's not my doctor's fault either. It's just something that rarely happens. And in my case, I'm one of the rare persons to get something like that. And it's nobody's fault. You can't really blame anybody for it. So, I don't. But, right now, I'm trying to stay more active so I don't get another blood clot because of my levels being low right now. So, I don't really, I'm not as, I wouldn't say lazy, but I don't stay in bed all day like I used to when I was pregnant. But, yeah, that's just about it. My health since the baby. So if you have if you're on blood thinners and you're having to get your INRs checked, comment down below your story. Let me know how yours is going. I'd like to know, and what caused you to have a blood clot. Was it from a surgery, or was it from something else? I don't know what else can cause blood clot besides smoking. But if it was from surgery, let me know. I mean, I feel kind of alone in this because my husband's not taking it, and I just feel like I don't understand. Like, my grandmother and my dad are on blood thinners, but they don't have to get their levels checked, and I don't really understand why. But, so I'm kind of alone in this, and it's kind of taking a toll on me because I'm having to go every week. Until I'm on the warfarin for 90 days, and then I get my own meter to test it at home myself, so I don't have to go over to the hospital every week to get my blood checked. But yeah, if you're in the same predicament as me, let me know. Tell me your story. I'd love to hear all your stories about it. This is kind of also my 2-month postpartum. As you know, before I had the baby, I was over 300 pounds, and that is my highest I've ever been. Now, since having the baby, I'm not able to breastfeed. So, I mean, she latches maybe once a week, but that's just about it. So, I'm not really burning a lot of calories from breastfeeding. But after I had her, I was breastfeeding exclusively. I mean, I was only formula feeding her when she was hungry more after her breastfeeding. So I dropped down to, like, I think it was like 294, but I've also gotten back up to 300. So in the next couple of days, I'm going to start doing dancing videos, dancing exercises. I don't know if I will record it because I'm self-conscious about that. So, to lose more weight, because I'm tired of being big, and I'm just tired of looking this way. Even though Christian tells me that I'm beautiful, however big I am, I don't feel comfortable in my body. And if you are the same way, let me know. I feel you. Even though, I mean, you are beautiful in your own skin, but sometimes you don't feel beautiful. Like, I don't feel beautiful. Even when I look pretty, I don't feel pretty because I'm so big. And sometimes, I don't know, I just don't feel pretty in my own skin. Now, Christian helps me with AnnaShae, but he hardly helps me with this one. He says it's because he's afraid he's going to break her because she's so small. But, I mean, he'll feed her and he'll play with her and stuff. And then at nighttime when we're in bed, I mean, she sleeps in her bed. When she starts crying in the middle of the night, he'll go over there and he'll pick her up and he'll give her to me so I can feed her. And then in the morning time, he'll bring her to the bed with me because she's usually up. And he'll make her a bottle for me. And he does stuff like that. But he doesn't, I mean, he'll help me give her a bath. Like, I take a shower with her because she likes to shower on her. So, he'll undress her and stuff and hand her to me in the shower. And then he'll dress her when I get done with her. And, but he won't change her diapers. I don't understand why. But as long as he helps me with AnnaShae, that's great. So, other than that, 2 months postpartum has been, nothing's really gone on besides a blood clot. I did have another kidney stone, and they put me on a uretary, I forgot how to pronounce that word, a ureter dilator to pass it, because I wasn't passing it. And I guess I already passed it because I don't have any more pains anymore. But this is just my video of my blood clot and 2 months postpartum. If you have any questions, let me know. Comment down below. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter and our Facebook page. And I love you guys, and as always, y'all have a blessed week. Bye.
cheese tastes lemony. Like I'm eating this and it's like cheese and lemony deliciousness. Nick, and make sure you skip on over to the end of the video. I have a special announcement and a special featured mukbang, a second little encore. So.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. I also forgot to mention that the birth control that me and Christian decided on, we didn't want to get the Alayna because we've heard a lot of horror stories of how it got dislodged and was found somewhere else in the body, and how the wire of it was actually like wire, and Christian would be able to feel it anytime we would have sex. So we decided on the Nexaplano or Nexaplana, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's the arm implant. She had to do it twice when she gave it to me because it ended up coming out the other side. So that was interesting, but we ended up on that one because my regular doctor said that it would either stop my periods or make them very light. So that's what we decided on. And I got that last week as well. Here is the aftermath of it. The little red dot is where they put it in the first one. You can kind of see it like right there in the middle where it's kind of red right there. That is the Nexaplon. It's that, however you pronounce it. But we did get this room, this middle bedroom, set up for our office. So those are the little paint plots that I did with my mother-in-law, and of course our portrait that we had done. Now we just have to have another one done with the new baby. But I just wanted to insert this video at the end of my video because I forgot to mention the birth control that me and him had agreed on. So this is the end of it. I love you all, and as always, God bless.
Bye bye. We need to go. Happy day.